Okay, Stig, it's been a little while since we last caught up. Obviously, there's been a bit of action on the pitch. I was unfortunately knocked out of the FA Cup. Picked up a decent point at Alfreton last weekend, though, and a new face last week as well.
Yeah, no, it's been I mean, clearly goes without saying that we're all disappointed to lose to Bishop Stortford in the FA Cup and get knocked out there. But unfortunately, we all, as Hereford fans, we all know that the FA Cup is littered with upsets, and unfortunately, we were on the wrong end of one on this occasion. But I thought we bounced back really well on Saturday at Alfreton. Always a cliche-tastic, isn't it? But always a really difficult place to go. And I think anything you can pick up away from home at Alfreton can be seen as a really good point and a real boost. We're a little bit unfortunate, I think, again on the end of a decision by the match officials potentially. Obviously, we've kind of had acknowledgement that the decision to disallow the winning goal against Kings Lynn was wrong and was an error of judgment. It's nice to get that acknowledgement, but it doesn't really help you afterwards, does it? In fairness, I know you felt that way. And then looking at the offside decision on Saturday, it was one of those that could have gone either way. It was really, really tight, and I think on another day we might well have got that in our favour. But that's football, sadly. But I think generally, we're in a pretty good place. I'm sure Paul himself and the players would say they'd like to have turned a few of the draws into wins. But I think generally the start to the season has been entirely positive when you consider the injuries that we've once again seemed to have suffered over the past few weeks. We haven't had our top scorer from last season at all so far. We lost our player of the year from last year. We lost our runner-up in player of the year from last year. And so we have had some difficulties that we've been trying to take on. I've had massive respect for the manager over the past few weeks because there's been finances available for him to try and bring in additional bodies and additional players. But he's kind of, as he said in many of his post-match interviews, he's not just going to go out and bring in just anyone. He wants to add quality. He wants to add, he really wants to add something to the squad, not just about bringing a body in to make up the numbers. So I greatly admire his attitude to that, really, to be honest with you. And I think it just shows the way he thinks about it and the way he wants to look after the club and where he treasures the club, really. Obviously, we've got Ty Deacon in ahead of the game at Alfreton on Saturday. Played the last half hour. It's with good defensive headers as much as anything on that day, if you like. And I was told he was looking pretty lively at training on Tuesday night in his first training sessions with the lads, and hopefully we've got another deal over the line ahead of the fixture against Buxton, which is really good, and will add some more strength to us for a month. So yeah, I'm pretty content with where we are, in a good place. Clearly would like to be higher, and probably should be higher if we'd had a little bit more of the rub of the green. But it is what it is, and I think we've got a good base to build from.
Been a little while since we've had a home game. Obviously, we were due one tomorrow, but due to Scarborough's continued involvement in the FA Cup, obviously we're away at Buxton. I just wondered whether you wanted to kind of give a bit of an insight into how we came about having that fixture. Obviously, there were a couple that we looked at that were kind of potentials, but the Buxton one was the only one that kind of worked in the end, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely right. In an ideal world, we'd have moved a Tuesday night home game to a Saturday and filled this Saturday where we were supposed to have a home league game with another home league game. But looking through the fixture list and looking at the available options, there was only one in reality. But there was no way we could arrange that, and that was because of FA Cup commitments as well, and unknown FA Cup commitments. We weren't too sure whether they'd have a game of that day or not. So we had to sort of reassess, really. And in many ways, we left it with the manager, really, to sort of give it some consideration. What do you think is the best idea? Would you rather have a free weekend, or would you try and pull a Tuesday night away game forward? Because at our level, with being part-time and having players working, Tuesday night away games can be a challenge on occasion. So it was the option of, do we move a Tuesday night away game, bring it to a Saturday, which is probably easier for everybody. It was at short notice, so it's not ideal for supporters, and I completely appreciate that. But it was one of those decisions that, as a club, let's look on what's in the best interest of the football side. It's quite nice. I'm sure there have been times in the past, both Hereford FC and maybe Hereford United, where we've desperately needed to get a Saturday home game just to keep the finances bubbling away. But we were actually in a position where we could make a decision on what was probably in the best interests of the football side, and the manager, as always, would lead on that, and that's how we've ended up bringing forward the Warrington away game from the Tuesday night to the Buxton away game forward to tomorrow, and hopefully that will bear fruit.
Yeah, so obviously, a tricky place to go to, Buxton on 3G surface, which obviously isn't always the nicest to watch, but I guess the players will be looking to kind of turn the recent draws into wins.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be difficult, isn't it? We lost there last year 2-1 in a game again that could have probably gone either way. I suspect it's been cold today, as far as I haven't been outside yet, and I'm hiding, but it's pretty cold today, and it's not the warmest place in the world, Buxton, is it? I remember a couple of years ago it was absolutely brassing there, wasn't it? So we shall see. But I've got no doubt the lads will go there looking to pick up the 3 points. It's a bit of a run of 4 away games on the bounce, isn't it? Which is difficult, but given the way we've performed away from home generally, I don't think there's anything to fear.
Just before we move on, a word for the away support lately, because I think both Bishop Stortford in the Cup and also Alfreton, the fans turned out in force, and particularly with the run of away games that there is, it's all the more admirable, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a real challenge, isn't it? None of us are blind to the fact that it's difficult. All these away games, well, home games aren't cheap for people, are they? In fairness, as well. But yeah, no, just as always, it's never a surprise, is it, when you see our support and you see how many people are travelling to places like Bishop Stortford and Alfreton. But yeah, no, just a huge thank you once again. I think it's 1 or 2 people. It's probably a challenge for their liver as well, isn't it? Looking at all these away games on the bounce, but yeah, no, it's fantastic, the support that we get, and the noise on Saturday again was absolutely brilliant. And I think it's just to say to everybody, as everybody does the vast majority of the time, just get behind the lads, be positive in your support. We're going to lose on occasions, and sadly that's the game, isn't it? That's the sport. Players are going to have a bad day on occasions, individually and as a group. So I think it's just be realistic about those bad days, and just remember that the one thing we can say about this group is that we're pretty confident they're trying their best at all times.
So on Sunday, if we look to the women's team, they're in FA Cup action. They've had a nice little run so far, and they're away at Boldmere St Michael, so a challenging fixture there.
Yeah, no, what a fantastic game on Sunday for the women's team, and they've obviously already won through 2 rounds of the 2 qualifying rounds in the FA Cup, and this is the 3rd qualifying round. And if they could somehow get a result over at Boldmere, they end up in the first round proper, I think, which would, well, getting as far as they have already is an outstanding achievement in their first ever campaign in the FA Cup. Excuse me. But if they could find a way of beating Boldmere on Sunday and get to the first round proper, it'd just be absolutely brilliant. So we're really so proud of what they've done so far. Obviously, Caution, I think, was a really tough challenge in the first round. Then in Long Levens, they beat quite comfortably in the second qualifying round. And I think it's another step up this time in terms of Boldmere. But the way they go about their business, you never can tell. Again, it's the FA Cup again, isn't it? We'll start as underdogs, but that's never stopped Hereford teams in the past, and hopefully we can go there and get a decent result. So it's, on behalf of myself and everyone at the club, it's massive best wishes to everybody involved with the women's team on Sunday, and we really look forward to seeing how they get on.
Yeah, I know Nashi's been doing his homework for a couple of weeks on Boldmere and put the players through their paces in training. So hopefully that hard work will pay off. But whatever the result, it's, as you say, the first ever kind of time they got in the FA Cup. So they've done really well so far.
Yeah, they've done brilliant. The league's got, they haven't played so many league games yet because of their involvement in the FA Cup, and obviously there was a waterlogged pitch issue as well. So, but yeah, no, they've started the season exactly how they left off after the last campaign. To be honest, it's going to be brilliant to see how they get on through the season.
Before we move on, actually, just thought now probably worth saying a big thank you to Ben Boeing, because he managed that weekend where the heavens absolutely opened. Managed to get not just 1 game but 2 games on that weekend for the first team and the women's team. So credit to Ben and his continued kind of efforts and hard work.
Yeah, he's a bit of a legend, Ben, isn't he? Don't tell him I said that, but he's a bit of a legend, isn't he, Mr. Bowen? Yeah, and I mean, first half against Kingsley, and that pitch was proper wet, wasn't it? Particularly down the far side. It was a borderline water polo on occasions, wasn't it, down that far side? Actually, the pitch itself made some of the best tackles in the first half because of the way the ball was stopping. So to get that game on, it was probably touch and go about 2:30 because of the rain that came in between 2 and 2:30. But I think in the end, it was a really good game for both sides, which again is testament to the work Ben does on the pitch. That it was, that a game of football was able to break out in the second half, and then for the pitch then to have held up enough for the women's team to play on the Sunday was brilliant as well. And it was so important that they got that game in on Sunday. And we want them to be playing at Edgar Street, and we obviously can't take chances with the pitch generally. Excuse me, but top work from Ben to get that sorted, and long may that continue. He's ably supported by a team George Webb claims to run, but apart from that, he's actually Ben does it really well to do such a good job with that level of handicap in the background, doesn't it? In fairness,
brilliant. Looking at the shop, it's another area that's kind of continuing to kind of do really well lately, and there's a restock of the away shirts that's sold out in super quick time. We're expecting another delivery of the retro shirts as well, any day now, and there's also some Christmas stock kind of starting to arrive as well. There's new kind of bobble hats, scarves, and some cuddly toys on order as well. So just worth looking into that into the shop. But at the minute, we can't kind of stock it quick enough.
Yeah, no, it's going brilliant, isn't it? I'm slightly concerned. I bought my daughter an away shirt, and Fred bought himself one of the diamond the retro shirt. And the amount they've been worn, I reckon we'll be back in there in November having to replace both items, to be honest with you. Is that a slight concern, isn't it? But, generally, things are going really well. The shop's very well managed by Smiley John Sadler on a match day and in the weekdays, which is great. John does a great job for us in there, and it's just great to see so much going on and so much being sold, and the amount of away shirts. It's blowing my mind, really, the amount of away shirts that you keep seeing on a match day, and the retro shirts have been an absolute winner as well, to be honest. So long may it continue. Keep up the good work in terms of your stocking it and your planning and all that sort of stuff. And it's great. I look forward to seeing what's in there for Christmas.
Well, we're having a bit of a rejig today with moving some stock around, making some room for the extra stock. So if you haven't been into the shop for a while, maybe for the Farsley game, stick your head in and see what's there, because there's loads for Christmas, particularly for the kids as well now. So another area that's doing really well is hospitality. I know Martin Brain, the commercial managers, had a few really successful ones in recent weeks. I think you've attended a couple as well, haven't you?
Yeah, no, I got an invite from Dawlish to go and join them in hospitality for the last home game against Kings Lynn, and I had the pleasure of being in the room when Dudley Tyler was speaking. Dudley was up with his family for his 80th birthday, and to say he spoke emotionally about what Hereford means to him would probably be an understatement of the century. I mean, there was 70 or 80 people in the room, I would say, and when Dudley at the end just took the microphone and sort of expressed his gratitude to Hereford people and the club for what it did, and how Hereford United changed his life after that FA Cup run in 1972 and resulted in going to West Ham, was just to say that it was not an exaggeration to say there weren't many dry eyes in the house, to be perfectly honest with you. It was an amazing thing, and I think it was a demonstration of why we all do it, why we all care about the football club so much, why it means so much to so many people. He wandered back to his seat, and he was on the table directly behind me in hospitality, and I went and tapped him on the shoulder. I said, Dudley, thanks so much for your time. I said, I'm well used to crying at 10 to 5, but I'm not so used to crying at 2:30 at Edgar Street. And he was chuckling, and we did have a bit of a giggle about it. But it was amazing, and the warmth of the reception he received was absolutely brilliant. So, there's going to be hospitalities. I think hospitality, all Saturday home games right up till Christmas, and if you fancy it, it's a lovely day out. The food was fantastic on the day, and the company was pretty good too. So if you get the opportunity, please do. I think I'm my son's 18th birthday just before Christmas, and I think he's got a gang of mates who are going to be enjoying some hospitality, I think, for the home game just before Christmas, and that he's really looking forward to that as well.
Yeah, so still room to book on most of those Saturday games. There's also match and ball sponsorships available as well, which you can tie in with hospitality or just book on its own as well, but all hopefully quite good value, and obviously go to being a key part of helping to run the football club.
Yeah, it's just a really nice thing. In some people out there, I think, who've never been before, or people who aren't that interested in football, but you could just come up, have a nice afternoon, drink and eat, have good company, and then hopefully watch a half decent game of football as well at the end of the day. Sorry about my coughing, and shocking, isn't it? But yeah, so hopefully watch a half decent game of football, and it's just a really good, especially in a pre-Christmas kind of scenario, get together. It's quite a good opportunity and a good option, really. I know the Hereford Away Days crew quite often have their Christmas party as part of Hospitality Day, don't they? And they always seem to have a really good time. So yeah, no, it's a really good afternoon out. Actually, it's done really well. It's great stuff from Adam and the staff and Terry and everybody who helps run that on a match day for us, and Martin.
I'm very wary that we've got to jump straight into another meeting in just over 10 minutes' time, but I don't know if you want to give a little bit of an update on the floodlights before we go.
Yeah, floodlight gate. Yeah, no, we think we're nearly there. We're hopeful we're nearly there. I hope for Darren Ball's sake we're nearly there. So I don't want to say too much about it, because you never quite know when this is going to be put online. But hopefully, we'll have something to smile about in the very near future.
Brilliant. No, that's great. Yeah. Keep people guessing. Yeah. Brilliant. Okay, well, I will see you probably a week Saturday, I think.
Yes, I don't think my likely COVID is going to see me make the trip to Buxton, but we shall see.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jake.